Hey there guys, what is going on? Galeriot here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi Memoria Freeze video, and today we're gonna be looking at the top 10 adventures and assists in war games. We're gonna be looking at whether the Earth units have, or I should say not just Earth units, but the summer units, whether the summer units have taken over war games. Now, obviously, I don't think so. I think the 5th anniversary units are still gonna be reigning supreme, but I haven't looked at the unit popularity list at all, in all honesty, so today is gonna be my first time looking at it. Now, one thing to note as well, that things may change. We still have a day and a half, or well, not even a day and a half according to this, it's 2 days, 2 days worth of war games to go, but I am going to be traveling on the day of war games ending, so I can't really necessarily look at it. So I wanted to keep you guys posted on like what are the top units. As you guys can see on your lists on the right, a lot of people are using that Weenie. You know, the Weenie is actually a really good unit. If you look at Pew's units, right, I said it, magic units are going to be doing really well, and especially with Weenie on the field, I think Weenie is a big game changer. You know, I've been facing a couple of Weenies in my runs, trying to go towards Jester, and it's been tricky, man. It has really been tricky. She realistically blocks a lot of physical units, right? And also, like I said, even the eyes and Mikoto will also aid massively. I think these banners are really good if you're trying to build a full magic team. Now, of course, one thing to note is that a lot of people are struggling for Iris after the anniversary, and that's the reason why, you know, they've done it, so that, you know, only the players who are really going to be spending will get those units, or those who saved up can get these units. But it is what it is. Let's look at the unit popularity though. Let's see what's cooking basically here. And of course, number 1 and 2 are not surprising at all. These are two very universal units, right? Nocturnal Elf Ryu is there for the nullification, and of course Shadow Elf Ryu is there for the fast debuffs as well as fast buffs. So 100% we know why they're there. Vesta, I mentioned last time around why she's there, and she fits in extremely well with the magic team, right? So I'm not gonna go too much into detail with her, but she also helps avoiding KOs when you're under or over a certain amount of HP, right? You don't get that one hit KOs from like 70% HP because of Vesta. Helga, Fiona, and Melia, very common units as well, just because, well, 1, they're 5th anniversary units, and 2, they're super nice and super usable, with Helga being able to reduce your opponent's agility, their physical resistance, Fiona being able to buff up your allies, get that SA gauge charge going, Melia also there to debuff your enemies. Overall, these 3 units go very well together, right? Again, really common units to be utilized here. Now, we have 2 new units in here that are a bit of a surprise, Ilia and Weenie. Now, we'll come on to those 2 in just a second. Obviously, we have the Otaro, who we've seen in the previous video that we did in the last time around when we did the post 5th anniversary update on top 10 units in the war games, right? As well as Finn. So let's look at Otaro and Finn just one more time over, and then we'll look at Ilia and Weenie for the adventure side. Then we can check out the assists, because I think the assists might be updated just a teeny tiny bit. So let's filter them out. We'll go with Otaro first, and see him. Obviously one of the best units in the game. I think he's so universal because you can use him as a sacrificial unit because of his ability to reduce your opponent's P-res and penetration rate for 6 turns. Automatically amazing there. On top of that, he gets that 60% HP heal, regen, god rate, thunder attack damage, P-res and M-res on himself, which makes him a really good bulky unit, especially on like teams that may need, you know, you want to go for stall or something like that, right? And then on top of that, this second ability of his central breakthrough will allow players to be able to remove any damage buffs the opponents may be placing on themselves. So again, really solid unit right here. He gets that 10% HP and MP regeneration per turn as well. Really solid unit. And then of course, if you look at the Finn as well, right? Finn, we have seen in the past as well. He's a very common unit, of course, in war games nowadays, but it's for good reason, of course. He also has a huge damage boost, basically, because he can increase the damage received on enemies by 30%, reduce their light resistance, and he gives himself strength and light attack damage up. So you're pretty much getting a very offensive unit right here. So if you place him alongside units that can kind of help him you know, hold station sort of, you've got yourself a fantastic unit right here, right? So there you go. Those are the 2 units. Now let's look at Rene and Ilya. Ilya, I think if I'm not mistaken, she's a fire unit, right? I think so, if I recall correctly. Yes, she is. This one. There it is. Sanctuary Priestess Ilia. So let's look at her stats first and foremost. She is, of course, a magic attack type unit. Fantastic stats, of course. Good agility as well, right? And then if you look over here and what she exactly does, well, first and foremost, she reduces your enemy's agility, similar to basically what Weenie does as well. But she also increases the opponent's damage received attack type all targets, which is amazing. On top of that, on her self actions as well, she will do a low fire magic attack, but she also removes HP regen on foes and penetration rate debuffs on allies, allowing you to basically get a lot of damage out. Priestess's prayer as well is insane, because what you're getting here basically is it removes any god rate debuffs on on your allies, and any damage received debuffs that you have gotten. So instead of you taking a lot of damage, Priestess's prayer removes those effects, basically increases your physical and magic res, and also decreases the opponent's physical and magic res for 1 turn as well. Insane. I think this is really good, because what Ilia is doing is sort of similar to I think it's very similar to certain other units in the game, right? Where they're able, I think the best way to describe it is it's sort of like the Shadow Elf Ryu, where Shadow Elf Ryu, of course, debuffs the exact same stats as she buffs the allies. Here it's the same thing. Priestess's Prayer removes any debuffs on you, and of course increases your P-res and magic res. But on the other side, she debuffs the enemy, removes their god rate buffs and damage reduction buffs, and also inflicts P-res and M-res down. It's a very similar concept here. Of course, it's a little bit different as well, but I think this is really strong, and I can see why a lot of people are running her in their magic teams. I don't know how many dupes I have in her actually, but she's really solid. She's really solid. Now let's have a look at Weenie, right? Weenie is a new unit. She's just come out, right? She came out in this banner. I am surprised that not a lot of people are trialing out the eyes and Mikoto, but there has to be a reason why. Maybe their mechanics, you know. The one thing to note as well, right, is that when you're going into war games and you have new units, you don't know how the AI is going to treat them, right? Even if you put them on attack, all buff, debuff, sometimes they play very wonkily, even though you don't want them to do it in some way. So I think a lot of players must have attempted it and seen what's the situation, and it didn't go to plan. Weenie, on the other hand, seems to be working really well in the hands of magic users, right? You've got a buff basically which gives herself magic, agility, and thunder attack damage for 60% for 5 turns, and also gets a penetration rate increase on allies with the additional actions, which is insane. Then on top of that, she has a similar, again, very similar sort of buff as the Shadow Elf Ryu, right? Where she is able to do a fast STR, magic, agility, and magic res down by 40%. And on top of that, any strength, magic, agility, and M-res buffs on the enemies are decreased by 3 turns, which effectively removes majority of them if possible, right? Really solid. These two abilities back to back are really good. You would probably go Golden Sun first, maybe, or no, actually no, you would do Silver Moon first and then Golden Sun, in my opinion, and then you would go back to Silver Moon, assuming your AI is capable of doing that. I could be wrong, but that's how I would do it, and from what I saw, that's what people were doing. I could be wrong, and I might be imagining it, but I'm pretty sure that's how people were utilizing this Weenie, which is really good, and you're able to basically take advantage of any sort of debuffs or buffs the enemies may be doing. I think it's also plausible that they're doing it the other way around, because you want the opposing players to set up their buffs and everything, and then in the second turn, which you should be surviving because you might have Nocturnal Elf Ryu, right? Along with a lot of assists that can basically make you survive that turn 1 onslaught from, you know, physical rush units and stuff like that, right? When you survive that first attack, basically, and then you can use Golden Sun first and then Silver Moon, you will be in a much better spot, ideally, right? That's at least how I would perceive it. Now, let's look at the assists. I think this is a completely fair ranking. That Nocturnal Elf Ryu and Shadow Elf Ryu are really crazy. I mean, I don't think these two units are going to go out of fashion anytime soon whatsoever. At all. Now let's look at the assists, right? And now I don't exactly remember a lot of the assists from the last update, but if I recall correctly, we did have, of course, Ryulu, Seer, Artemis, Chloe, backstage Princess Eyes was there, the Path Ariadne was there, and Alf was there, right? So I'm not gonna talk about Artemis, Seer, Ryulu, Alf, Ariane, Eyes, and Chloe, because we've spoken about them, right? They do fantastic things like Seer gives that null ailment and so on and so forth. Artemis blocks the it nullifies physical attacks. Ryulu decreases agility and penetration rate and stuff. Alf is strength and agility buff, along with a additional action of being able to reduce the opponent's strength and magic. Backstage Princess Eyes removes debuffs and buffs, and Chloe, of course, is basically an older version of Artemis. Let's look at Orna, Ilia, and Hephaestus. Those are the three we're going to be looking at today, and those are the three that are going to be interesting. I want to also have a look at the Seer again, because I feel like I've forgotten something major about her, alongside that really good null ailment, and it is, of course, yeah, damage received plus 15%. I wasn't sure if it was damage reduction or received, but it was damage received increased on your foes, basically. So let's look at the Ilia, Hephaestus, and Orna, right? Those are the three we should be looking at right now. So let's go over to here. Well, we'll look at Ariane as well. But yeah, this is what she did. It was crazy. I completely forgot that she did so much on her strength, magic, and agility down. Plus 20% agility on herself, and then increase on penetration rate and counter rate on allies, which is really, really good. But this is the Orna that they were talking about. Again, very similar to the Estrella from the 30th anniversary, but she does have critical rate and penetration up along with slow res. Really nice unit to have. Again, when you're using a magic team, the main aim is to kind of like block as many attacks as possible. Hence why you're going to see a lot of people running Artemis, Estrella, Orna, Chloe, or whatever it may be. Whatever options they may have, they will be running that. Now let's look at Ilia over here. Sanctuary Antiquity Priestess Ilia. She gives everybody null magic attack 2 times basically, and then a 75% chance of nulling magic attacks for 1 turn basically, or 1 attack basically. This is a very similar ability as the Artemis that we just saw at number 1, and I can see why a lot of people, a lot of physical attackers are probably using this ability in order to maximize their just maximize their survivability, because a lot of people are running magic units on the top stages. So it's actually beneficial for people to run this Ilia as well, right? It makes a lot of sense, and obviously it being an agility based stat as well makes it very, very appealing for a lot of players. Now we saw one more assist that I completely forgot. It blanked in my head. I need to go back and check which assist it was that we were supposed to look at. We were supposed to look at 3. We were supposed to look at Orna, Hephaestus. I knew it was Hephaestus. I was just like, I remember now. I remember just as I clicked on it, I was like, it's Hephaestus that I missed out on. But we have Orna, Ilia, and Hephaestus, right? So let's look at Hephaestus now. Hephaestus, if I recall correctly, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she reduces magic res, if I'm not mistaken. So let's filter it's okay. I was supposed to filter by 4 stars, but it's fine. I can just scroll down here, and Hephaestus is right here. Oh no, I am absolutely wrong. I was so off. For some reason I was thinking about this Hephaestus, I think, which is P-res. So I was wrong anyways. What did this one do? Let me see. She gives magic and fire and water attack damage. Okay, I wasn't sure. I felt like I was right initially, but I was wrong, clearly. But she gives all allies P-res and magic res 20%, along with 5 instant effects of being able to get S-share and magic minus 40% for 2 turns on foes, once per turn. Really, really strong unit here. Again, another unit that's gonna be able to help players out, especially in trying to just hold the defenses while you're just, building your units up. The thing with magic units, you have to remember, it's not a case of like, oh, you can go full offense, turn 1, just destroy everybody. You can get a couple of chip damages off, break through a lot of the defenses of the opposing units. But turn 2 and turn 3 are where things ramp up extremely for magic units. That's where they start to shine, and that's why a lot of players are probably running units like this Hephaestus, like the Artemis, even the Orna as well, not Orna, Ilia as well, just so that they can survive that initial onslaught, so that they can start going full guns blazing in the opposing turns. I think that's what's important, and it's extremely important as well. It's extremely important. There's a reason why this Elpis/Artemis is being used as well, right? Get that null physical attacks, stop those physical attackers from doing a lot of damage, right? It's very, very important, and you can see that happening consistently. Now, one thing to note as well is that I've done a very, very brief overview on all of these units. If next time you want to see me go in depth on 1 to 10, you know, explaining what each unit does, let me know. I felt like this, since I'm going to be doing this series consistently, you know, where I do like every war games I do top 10, every record buster I do top 10, I feel like a lot of units will be repeated, right? So if you guys want me to do again, you know, just go over each unit consistently, let me know. I'm down for that as well. But I feel like because of, well, one, the video not being too long, but also just for your guys' sake, you might have already seen the previous video and been like, well, I know what these units do, you don't have to repeat them. That's one of the other reasons why I'm just there, like, let me know if you guys want to see, you know, changes to this, or you want to see a full-on, like, full-length video. That would be much appreciated. I would love to see it in the comment section down below. But there you go, guys. There's your top 10 adventures and assists for the War Games first week season, I guess, or September season 1. I suppose it's written right there. Ultimate War Games September season 1. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have the ability to build some of those teams you guys saw from our top rankers? You know, Pew is running a magic team. Nobu over here looks like he's going to be running a magic team. Yep, it's a very similar magic team across the board. You can see what the team is like. If you guys can build it, let me know. I'm curious to see if y'all can build it and maybe push your way up to the top ranks. But yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. It's been Galeriot signing out. Bye bye, guys.